All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. We are very happy that you decided to be here for this event to know about the Business Analytics program. I do see a few names that have been in touch with us in the past, so thank you for joining us here. My name is Gaurav Shekhar, and I'm the program director for the Graduate Business Analytics Flex and the Graduate Business Analytics online program here at UT Dallas. We're here to talk about the Flex program here, which is our largest the largest version of the business analytics programs that we have here, which is predominantly an in-person program with most of the classes offered in the in-person modality. Of course, we do have online options as well in the program, but this is something that has been there in the school since 2014. So we are rearing into our 8th year now. And in terms of our size, we are the largest business analytics program in the entire country here. Today, the temperature in Richardson decided to take, just jump off the cliff. So we've been seeing a cold wave for the last few days, but that's exactly how the temperature here in Dallas is. It's like randomly a number is picked. It could get very hot, and then suddenly the next day, you might see the temperatures drop. But it at least keeps us on our toes. The agenda for today's webinar is simple. I will be talking about the program a little bit, and hopefully that covers most of your questions. However, if you have questions, put them in the chat, and right after I'm done with my presentation, which is about 20 minutes, we will get into the questions and try to answer all of them that you have. Now, before even we start talking about what MSBA at UT Dallas can do, the first question that comes to mind is why MSBA at all? Why business analytics at all? Forget the degree right now. The question for you should be that, is this a field or is it something that you should even be in? The answer to that is why we need MSBA is because as we are seeing the companies move forward with their businesses, a lot of things are data centric. Almost every other thing is being digitized. The way people do their business is digitized. And there is a huge digital transformation that even traditional industries are seeing. And whenever you go digital, one thing that is out there is data. Now, I'm not saying that data is directly driven by only the digital lead. Even without any digital components in your business, you can still have a lot of data that you need to see through. Computers make it easy. That's the simplest way to put it. When we talk about any applications, and you see applications all over the place, and I'm talking about software applications. The one reason why these software applications are created is to manage data. So technically, we are talking about a lot of data that is being generated, that is being used to make something out of it. I would not say that everybody understands how to use it, but something out of it. So every organization excels at having data. Now, what they don't excel at is looking at, or maybe even indulging into decision making based on their experience and hunch. What they want is they want solid proof whether something will work or not, because a wrong decision can lead to millions of dollars of loss, and nobody wants to do that. At the same time, with a lot of companies, and big and small, you could be a small company and you could be giving competition to the largest company out there. And just because the small company has a better team that can put together these analytics practices together and help them with better decision making. So at the end of the day, it is all about who's able to make those decisions better, who's able to make those decisions first, because it really helps to be proactive. So data and decision making using data is growing exponentially. The third thing to understand is it's not just related to the technology sector only. Anybody, financial sectors, oil and natural gas, real estate, healthcare. I mean, you think about that industry and that will be using components that generate data and they need it for decision making. For example, after 2008, when we had the big crash, there has been a huge focus on analytics to make sure that they get the right information at the right time. Now, what is there that is missing in the industry and is our advantage is the fact that the need is huge. The need for analytics professionals is huge. And when I say analytics, I'm not talking about people who just create charts. No, creating visuals and charts is not analytics. If at any point of time you felt that creating charts is when you create charts, you're doing analytics, you're not. You're just representing data. Analytics really requires the understanding of modeling, the understanding of optimization, the understanding of using statistical methods, research methods. There are several things that have to be done to help understand what the data is trying to tell you. And then, of course, you need some kind of a visualization tool or some charts to help convey that. But just the charts part of it is not analytics. That's just representation. So coming back, there is a huge need, and there are very few qualified professionals. And that's where we come in as a program. Now, this need could have been taken care by just trainings in the organization, but the speed at which this need has been growing is not the speed at which people are able to train their employees. And that's the reason why a university becomes so important in this whole equation, because we are able to train people with all the tools that are required for them to be better. I might not say that for every other program that's out there, but the richness of the curriculum that we have lets us do a lot of things, and not just do a lot of things, but also offer a lot of options to our students to be better when it comes to analytics. For us, some things that matter a lot and are important are things like flexibility, which means not everybody ends up taking the same set of courses. You decide what do you want to do. Is there a particular course you want to learn first or take first, or you want to do the program, you want to split it across multiple semesters in a certain fashion? You decide what works best for you, and we let you do that. The other thing is engagement, and we know that whatever you're learning in the class is a high quality thing. However, learning cannot be restricted only to classrooms, and it has to be done outside of the classrooms too. And there are a lot of things that students learn outside the classes. For example, networking with individuals from the industry, being part of student organizations, working on projects, competitions. All those things require students to work on things themselves. And we are proud to provide those opportunities. We have our student organizations where students also craft those opportunities. But at the end of the day, engagement is important, because yes, what you're learning in the classroom is one thing, but then have you applied it somewhere? Do you have the confidence that when you go out and you start working in these areas, you will confidently deliver whatever is expected? And that is done through engagement. Finally, we are very focused on outcomes. And when we say that, we want people to be focused on outcomes. And we are also very focused on outcomes of what we are doing. We just don't want to do stuff to fill in time. We want to make sure that any activity that we indulge in, anything that we bring to the school for you all, is something that is geared towards what you expect the school and the program to do for you. Now, talking about the program as a whole, the Flex program has 10 different tracks. And these tracks are recommendations. So, if you can look at the names: accounting, analytics, cybersecurity, data science, data engineering, decision and operation analytics, financial, healthcare, marketing, social media, and enterprise systems, which start using SAP. SAP Analytics is also big out there. It's a STEM designated program, which means that if you're one of the international students who's looking for an extended work authorization, you will get that because the program is STEM. It's a 36 credit program. Half of the program is core classes, and the other half is electives that you pick from any of these tracks. Now, we do offer admission in all 3 semesters of the year. So the next major semester that we are looking forward to is fall of 22. However, there are options for you to get into the program in summer as well. Summer starts in the 3rd week of May. Fall starts in the 2nd or 3rd week of August. And then we just started our spring semester this past week. As I mentioned before, Why us? We are first of all the largest in the country. And by the way, when I say we are the largest in the country, that is the reason why we are able to provide so many different tracks, so many different courses. So just to give you an example, the electives that you're looking at, 18 credits, these are 6 courses, 3 credits each. This list of 6 courses, to the electives that you have are about 70. So picking 6 courses out of 70 courses that are out there. No other university can provide these many courses because there aren't many students and it's impossible to have it. So a large program has its benefits because it gives you a lot of opportunities around electives. Despite being the largest program in the country, we are still hitting those average numbers. Around $100,000 is what our students earn right at the end of graduation. And this is happening. This is the average number. So this has been happening for several years now. Every spring we have 300 plus students graduating and they're still able to make that average. Now, of course, the higher the more you have your experience and then you add an analytics degree on top of it, the earning potential increases. And we've been seeing the highest salary being in the range of $250,000 to $300,000. But still with an average of $100,000, you're way above than other programs or degrees that are out there. It is the hottest degree, let's be honest. It's the hottest degree. It is a skill that the industry needs right now. And whether you are somebody who's just getting into the industry or you spend 10, 15 years, you still need analytics. This is one skill set that doesn't know, that just cuts across experience because everybody has a different need when it comes to making decisions with data. We have partnerships with dozens of companies. And when I say partnerships, these are not partnerships where we just know each other, that we exist. These are partnerships where we are aggressively working with these companies in the school. It could be their projects in our classes. It could be them coming for guest lectures, being judges in our competitions, sponsoring our competitions. Technically, these companies are on the speed dial for us, and we are on speed dial for them as well. They need interns, let's say, and we just have to send them our book. Within the next 24 hours, students receive emails or phone calls about potential job opportunities and they are hired. So what we have done is we have invested heavily in a lot of companies in terms of building that relationship for several years. This degree has a high return on investment. And when I say that high return on investment, UT Dallas in the state of Texas is ranked #1, and us in the School of Management, the business analytics program is on the top when it comes to return on investment. So let's say you take an educational loan to fund the entire degree. The kind of money that you're making, you can very comfortably pay back the entire amount in about 2 to 3 years. In fact, next week we are doing a webinar on financial planning. And I think you may have already received an invite, but if you haven't, just send me an email later on and I'll make sure that you get invited. But we will talk about different scenarios through which you can fund your degree, and at the same time, how do you get the money back? So the focus is only funding and financial planning there. But again, coming back to the return on investment part, that is possible just because the industry recognizes the talent. They know that when a student comes out of our program, they have exceptional talent. And a lot of times our students go and they establish practices that are missing in organizations. So definitely they're doing something valuable that is leading them to do such kind of things when they start working. And yes, I'm not just talking about full-time employees. Even when they go as interns, they're able to establish a lot of different things. There are almost 600 different internships. So 500 to 600 is the number where that we see every year in terms of internships. And these internships are done all over the US. Our students go all over the US, they work for, so this 600 would mean about 350, 360 companies would have hired our students. That many number of companies working with our students, that's a massive number for us. And that shows that our talent is recognized by who's who in the industry. Just talking about the different formats, a flex program, of course, is a program that has all the 10 tracks. Most of the options are face-to-face. A few online classes are also there. As I said, it's self-paced. You decide how you want it. And it's a state-funded program. State-funded means, let's say you get a scholarship and you're an out-of-state student, you then start paying in-state tuition rates. Or if you are, let's say you become a TA in the program and you're out of state, you start paying in-state tuition. And the difference between in-state and out-of-state is almost 2 times. So that's a lot of money that you save. Or things like, the more credits you take in the program, there is, lesser the credit rate for every hour it reduces. We also have 2 other programs, cohort and online. So the MSBA cohort program is separate, and it has 2 of the tracks out of the 10, data science and accounting analytics. Now those tracks are there in Flex as well, but cohort is just for those 2. And again, they have the same format, face-to-face, online, self-paced. The only thing is it's not a state-funded program, which means that there is a flat tuition rate and the scholarship opportunities are different. And then we have the completely online program. So if you are somebody who, that is also possible through the MSBA program. Now we do have GMAT and GRE waivers available, and we are not giving them the way we used to give them in the past for reasons related to COVID. But GRE and GMAT, if you want that waiver, you can send in a request, and I will show you in a minute how you can do that. We will evaluate your undergraduate performance to see if you had to take the GRE, would you have got the minimum scores that we are looking for. It will be purely based on your academic performance, your undergraduate performance. So when you're requesting this, make sure that at least your unofficial transcripts are sent to us, or mark sheets are sent to us, and unofficial is okay. We have scholarships also available. Now the only thing is, if you're going for a scholarship, you'll have to make sure that you submit a GRE or a GMAT score. That is mandatory to get a scholarship. And for the Flex program, we have the Dean's Excellence Scholarship. The deadline for the fall semester is May 1st, which means your official scores and your application should be with us. Please do not wait until May 1st in case you're going for fall 22. Submit it as soon as you can. Now, what do we need in the application? We need a GRE GMAT score. However, if you want to request a waiver, you can simply email jsomgradvising@utdallas.edu. So one-line email saying that you have submitted an application, here's the application number, and you would like to request a GRE GMAT waiver. They have a process in which they look at all your transcripts and then come back to you within a week or 2, just letting you know if you've been granted the waiver or you'll have to submit a score. Transcripts.
Sorry to interrupt.
Do you mind just putting those questions in the chat for now? I'm not taking questions at this moment. Yeah. I'll get back to questions right after we are done here. Okay?
Sure. Yeah, thank you.
All right, so transcripts, unofficial ones will do. We don't need your official transcripts. If you have unofficial versions, send that to us. If you don't have a transcript, and it'll take time, and you have the mark sheets available for each of the semesters, go ahead and submit those. Let us have something at least so that we can evaluate your candidacy, and we will render a decision, and after that you will have time to submit your official documents as well. Resume is required, 1 letter of recommendation, and this letter of recommendation can come from anybody. It could be your former professor, it could come from your manager who has seen you work at a workplace, a former colleague. 1 letter of recommendation. We don't discriminate from where it comes, but it has to be somebody who has been your supervisor or been your professor who has seen or directed you in a professional capacity or an academic capacity. And the personal objective statement, or the essay, as a lot of us call it, this has to be submitted. 1 page, double space is okay. However, if it is going beyond a page, that's fine. But don't go into 5-10 pages because it doesn't make sense. We just need a page. Okay. And what is the best thing to write in an essay? See, we want to know why do you want to pursue an MSBA degree, and how does it factor into your future? Those are some of those things that we are looking for. But generally, a personal objective statement is used to cover things that you probably may not have covered through other parts of your application. So for example, if you tell me that your GPA is whatever it is, I can get that from the transcripts. So that's not new information. But what is there something that you can tell us about your candidature that will help us make that decision better? Quick data on some of the important things like internships. Just wanted to share the breadth of different industries in which our students went last year in 2020 and 2021. 500 internships were pursued with about 360 employers. And you can see, even though internet and software, so IT companies are about a quarter of the internships, there are so many other different sectors in which our students went. So which just tells us that business analytics internships, or the need for business analytics, is spread all over the place. It was the year of the COVID, but still our students ended up interning in most of the states. Generally, this is the entire 50 states, but despite that, most of the states attracted our students. Of course, the majority of them do stay in Texas because, again, we are in a very thriving area when it comes to jobs, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, but then California, New York are the other places where our students go. The average salaries, so we hit a 26.35 for last summer, which is 26. This was one of the highest that we have seen in the last few years, but $26 is an average, which doesn't mean that that's what everybody gets. And you can see the maximum that a student earned was $105 an hour, and these are all hourly salaries. I strongly recommend that you go to LinkedIn and look for this hashtag UTD-MSBA. Put it there and look out for all these stories. These are first-hand experiences of students talking about their experiences in these different organizations. Okay, this is unmoderated, so this is their own reflection. And I think this is a good way for you to know what exactly these students are doing in these organizations. When we say business analytics, well, what is exactly business analytics for these students, or for these companies for that matter? So if we see Ericsson's example, what does Ericsson do when it comes to analytics? And there is an account for you to read. Not only read as to what they do, but also how somebody got into Ericsson. And you might find your dream company listed there. There's a big possibility. When we have 360 companies, 400 companies hiring our students, there is a big possibility that your dream company would be there. I would strongly encourage that you go and read them. We have a lot of student organizations at UT Dallas, about 350 of them. 70 of them are in the School of Management, and the ones that you see listed here are some of them where we see a lot of our students. And again, if you don't see an organization, or you don't have one here at UTD that you want to be a part of, and there is something else that you have in mind, please go ahead. Get 5 students, 5 peers of yours, a faculty advisor, and you can start one. One of the good things about these student organizations are they're all run by students. So it's a great way to learn a lot of great things about working in teams, setting up organizations, running operations, finances, etc. Now, this is something that helps you maximize your spend at UT Dallas. So the money that you're spending here, you can maximize the value here. We have these bonus certificate programs that are carved out of the degree programs that we have. So for example, the Applied Machine Learning Certificate Program has 4 courses in it. Okay, and all 4 courses are part of the Business Analytics program as well. So when you take those 4 courses, you not only get credit towards the degree, you also get credit towards these certificates. And these certificates, depending on your residency, can be anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000. So if you're an out-of-state student, you'll spend about $20,000 to get these certificates. But since you're a degree-seeking student, you don't have to pay double tuition. So you are getting $20,000 worth of benefits right? By just being in those classes. These are some of the certificates that our department offers: applied machine learning, business intelligence and data mining, cybersecurity, enterprise systems, and healthcare. However, there are other certificates in the school as well. And again, all you have to do is just make sure that the courses that you're taking, you take those courses, and if they apply to your degree also, you'll get dual credit right there. But for the Flex program, here are the two people who will take care of all your questions, and our direct email addresses are listed out there. Sylvia Leventhal is our program manager, and I'm sure a lot of you have already got in touch with her about your questions. But between us, we take care of all the questions and everything that happens in the MSBA Flex program. Remember, it's the Flex program that has all the different tracks and options available out of all the different offerings that we have in the business analytics program. I would like to take a moment here to quickly show you our catalog of courses. So as I was saying, there are 18 credits of core classes, which means by being in the core classes, and again, you don't have to finish these core classes first. You can do it in any order. But statistics, which is like the backbone of analytics, predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics. And again, when you go and work at an organization, you will be asked 3 questions, technically, maybe not verbatim, but again, these are the 3 needs that every organization has. What happened, what will happen, and what do you recommend? What happened is where your advanced statistics comes in. What will happen is predictive analytics that we teach you. What do you recommend? Prescriptive that we teach you. We have a foundational course in business analytics that talks about a lot of different algorithms, models, etc., that you get exposed to. We also teach you things around econometrics and time series analysis, which is the need for any kind of analysis that you want to do when it comes to data. And then, of course, a database foundation course, because at the end of the day, you are seeping through tons and tons of data. So relational databases, NoSQL, etc., is all covered there. And then you have these tracks that we were talking about. These 10 tracks, which have about 70 courses for you to pick from. As I said, you can pick it in any order. The only thing you have to make sure is you take the prereqs, and those prereqs are also courses in the degree program. Now, the fastest this degree can be finished is 9 months, 2 long semesters, and you're done. We don't recommend that because that's a lot of work to be done, but if you want to do it, you can. The maximum time that you get is 72 months, which is 6 years. Nobody takes that much time. Most of the students take 3 to 4 long semesters, which is about 17 to 22 months. I'm going to put this link in the chat just in case later you want to go and look into this. I do see a lot of questions coming, which is great. Also going to put my email address, which I promised before. Okay. So let's jump into questions right now. And what I would do is, if you can put them in the chat, that'll be great, because again, I would love to unmute you and let you ask your questions, but just to make sure that we can cover as many questions as possible, I've always found the chat method better. So I'll read out your questions and I'll answer them. Okay. Starting off, Nitin, thank you for being here. We have Yashaswari. How many students are going to be there in this degree, and how many years has this course running? So we have been in the school since 2014, and every fall we have about, I would say, 350 to 400 students. Priyanka, I did add my email address. Thank you. Saber, how difficult is this program for somebody coming from business background instead of tech, software, STEM background? Saber, that's a great question to ask. Again, we've had students who have come from, non-IT backgrounds, and have they done well? They have done really well. Because what happens is, when you know that you have to put in extra effort, you end up putting extra effort and then you get better results. Not saying that if you have STEM, CS, IT background, you won't do as well. Of course you will do well. See, at the end of the day, we will provide you with all possible resources to get used to these concepts. It's a master's program, so the pace will be slightly faster than an undergraduate degree. But then we do provide you with a lot of resources. For example, I teach a course on low-code automation, and I teach everything from scratch. It's application development, it is RPA, and it's a lot of things which are hot in the market right now, but they're taught from scratch. So your background definitely will have certain things that will help you in learning what you're learning in the program well. And nobody says that, if you don't have the background related to business analytics, you won't do well. Of course you will do well, because at the end of the day, you will end up being in a professional that will require you to have that analytics background. So if we don't teach you the way the industry expects it, that's a problem. And we do that. We do teach you things in a way that you can grasp them well, and at the same time be successful. And yes, people who have similar backgrounds, they sometimes come in and they also struggle. It's just about knowing what is the best way to study, and the minute some people realize that, things get much, much better. Can we switch between Flex and Code? You can do that. You just need to send an application and we'll help you out. Are the classes in Flex and Cohort in the evening or morning? So again, we have classes all over the day, but what we are seeing over the last few semesters is that the slots at 4 o'clock. So we have a 4 to 7 class, and then we have a 7 to 10 o'clock in the night. And they are picking up in terms of popularity. We have a lot of people who might be interning, or they're working full time, or they just might be full-time students and they like the evening slot. So we do have course classes in the morning, but I would say as we get beyond 12 p.m., we have one class starting at 1 o'clock, 1 to 3:45, and then 4 to 6:45, and then 7 to 9:45. We are seeing those classes getting more students. So I would say that if you are looking for something in the evening, definitely there are a lot of options out there. What is the approximate GRE score needed for scholarships? Now, there isn't a particular number that we can put our finger on that this is what you need, but our averages for admission, for example, and these are averages. Remember, averages doesn't mean that if you don't have the average, then you won't be admitted. The averages have been around 310, 312 for admissions. And our GRE, average GRE for scholarships has been more than the average that we have for admission. So I would say 312 plus has been something that we have been able to give a scholarship for. However, having said that, the most important thing is the pool of candidates. And if the average of the pool is high, then of course the averages will go up. So if the average is 318, then guess what? That's the number we are looking at. And we've been attracting a lot of great students over the last few years. So I would say that yes, these averages will be really high. So as high as you can get helps you. Are we automatically considered for Dean's Excellence Scholarship, or should we apply separately? Well, in the Flex program, you will have to, and Dean's Excellence Scholarship, you'll have to apply for it separately. There's a separate application. It's open right now for fall. So once you submit your application in, please go ahead and submit. And when I'm talking about application, I mean the program application. And after that, you can submit an application for your scholarship as well. But we would need your official GRE or GMAT scores before we even look at your scholarship application. What is the maximum percentage of scholarship we get? So if you are, so you get $1,000, and this is the Dean's Excellence Scholarship I'm talking about. You get $1,000 plus the ability to pay in-state tuition rates if you're an out-of-state student. Now, if you're a Texas resident, the maximum you'll get is $1,000. If you're an out-of-state student or an international student, you get the 1,000 plus the in-state tuition for 2 long semesters. Is it possible to move from cohort to Flex after admit? You can do that. You just need to apply to the Flex program. And once you have applied, send me an email as well, just letting me know if there's anything that needs to be done. I'll be in touch. Hema, is the admission criteria different for Flex and cohort? Well, it's the same criteria. We look at similar things. I've applied for Flex since the seats are filled. Will my profile? No, we don't automatically qualify, consider anybody for different programs. You'll have to apply to both of them separately if you want to. And when you said that the seats are filled, our model is such that we have technically unlimited capacity if we have to. So there's no, we don't operate in a style like a lot of other universities where they have fixed set of people that they can take. And when I say fixed set, it's generally 40, 50 students that they're able to bring in. We don't. We have a much greater flexibility on how many people we can bring in. Shukla, thank you for sharing that link. Raf, I have 8.2 years of experience. Is there any flex? Oh, absolutely, we do. In fact, we do have courses that teach you AWS analytics, cloud analytics. So we take you through a lot of different modules of AWS. We have a partnership with them. So you learn the latest and the greatest that is out there in AWS world. We also teach courses in Hadoop, Spark. So that's another side of it. From SAP standpoint as well, the cloud analytics, so SAP Analytics Cloud is the latest product that they have. And we have a full-blown course out there in our catalog to teach that. So yes, we do teach a lot of things around that. Hema, a profile with GRE waiver and relevant work experience, chance, then profile with comparative. So every profile is unique. I would say no one thing can make your profile super duper great and no one thing can bring it down. We look at the whole application holistically. Now there might be a student with a very good GRE score, let's say, but then a very horrible undergraduate GPA, or the letter of recommendation doesn't really tell us that this student will be successful, and for whatever reason that GRE was the only good thing. That doesn't mean that automatically that student will be admitted, because we are looking at everything in your application. Now let's say you have a lower GRE, or you went for a waiver, but then you did well in your undergrad degree, and then you have a nice profile from a professional standpoint. Of course, we have seen people of that sort also who get admissions. So again, we look at every possible bit in your application. And the question that we ask is, if we put this person into the program, will this person succeed? If it's a yes, there you go. There is your admit. If it's a no or it's a maybe, no, of course, means rejection, but maybe is when we will evaluate it further. Sometimes we even call students and we have a chat with them to understand if this is exactly what they wanted and how will they ensure that they're successful. And maybe after that discussion, we end up admitting them. We don't waive any application fee, Pranav, because we are a state university and we cannot do that. However, application fee is only waived for current students or alums who are applying to the program. Sairam, how many internships can I do throughout the course tenure and how many credits? So the maximum credits that you can give to your internship is 3. You can do a 0 credit internship as well at the very beginning of wherever you can do your internships. And what we have seen is 3 is the max that students have done that they've got credit for. But if you want to work for 3 different companies and get 3 different experiences, absolutely, that's possible. Hey, low GRE leads to outright reduction. So as I said, it doesn't mean that a low GRE is not fit for the program. And we look at a lot of things. When I say we look at a lot of things, we do a very fine analysis of your transcripts as well. So for example, what kind of courses do you do well in? What kind of courses you don't do well in? We've had several candidates, and because it's a quantitative program, we do look at the quantitative courses. And if we see that you're doing well in those courses as an undergrad, and there were only a certain type of courses that brought you down, well, that tells us that you have the ability to do stuff in our program well. So as I said, no one thing can bring you down, and no one thing can just make your profile so great that we will end up accepting you. So everything is very finely looked at. When we reject a student, we look at your profile even more, because see, people with whom we have confidence that they will succeed, that's a no-brainer. But then when we are rejecting somebody, we give it a lot of thought before we reject somebody, to just make sure that we have looked at every part of your profile very well. So that's why if you feel that there is something on your profile which is not strong enough, things like your statement of purpose, your essay, or when somebody writes your recommendation, you request your referee to write that recommendation, just make sure that they talk about your abilities to make things happen. And that's what we are looking for at the end of the day. See, people can have a variety of reasons why they didn't get the right marks or they didn't do well in exams or whatever it was. But we can't hold on to that reason forever. And that's why we do a very, very detailed analysis to come back with an acceptance or a rejection. So don't worry, if anything is not great on your profile and that's the only thing and you have several other things, we will look at your strengths and we look at things that will work very well. Purvik, is there a class limit to register for core courses? Now, again, when you say class limit, the limit is always there in sections. Okay, and we have a limit of, we see about 60 students in core classes, anywhere from 20 to 60 in our electives. And again, there are multiple sections. So for example, our database foundation course or the advanced stats course that we have, we will have 7-8 sections of each of them in every semester. So that if you want to get into that class, there are multiple options available. And all these sections will be spread throughout the week, throughout at different times, so that let's say you're looking for a particular time slot, you're able to get that. So yes, we do have a lot of capacity there as well. And in case we see that, there are too many students on the wait list, what do? We open new sections and we put faculty there. The class size for, again, we see about 350 to 400 students come in spring, and then about 200 in spring. About 200 in spring, about 350 to 400 in fall, and about 20 to 30 in summer. All 3 semesters we do have students coming in. Varun, what's the duration of the program? I can see that cohort. So again, it's as I said, it's not a 2-year program. You can finish it in 2 years. The fastest you can finish this program is 9 months. The max you can take is 72 months. And most of our students take 3 to 4 long semesters, which is 17 to 22 months. So yes, absolutely, you can do it in that duration. Sam, may I know how many students receive the Dean's Excellence Scholarship? Well, we do have a lot of Dean's Excellence Scholarships, and that number goes up and down. As I said, the number is dependent on the pool of applicants. If we have a strong pool and we are able to give out more scholarships, we will give it. We have generally given out more in fall as opposed to spring. So if you're going for the fall semester, definitely there's a bigger chance that you'll end up getting those scholarships. Medha, I wanted to inquire about TRA opportunities. So again, a good question. Thank you for asking. TRA opportunities are available for students only after the first semester. We need you to be at UT Dallas for at least 1 semester and then apply. We will need a GPA of 3.4, and whichever course we are going to hire you for as a TA, you need to get an A in that course. And that's why we need that first semester. But doesn't mean if you cannot work as a TA in the first semester, doesn't mean you cannot apply to be a TA in the very first semester for the second semester TA-ships. So for example, we just hired a bunch of TAs for spring 22, and a lot of them were students who came in fall of 21. They finished their semester, they did well, whatever they did, and we now have a reason to admit them, to hire them as TAs. And again, TAs get a monthly salary. It's about $1,000 after taxes and all. Plus, if they are an out-of-state student, they do get in-state tuition. What we also try to do is, if you have a scholarship, then we try to give preference to the ones who don't have a scholarship, because again, the in-state benefits you get, we want to reach out to as many students as possible. Now, a student with scholarship will already have tuition coverage, but the ones who don't have it, we look at them for TA-ships. Having said that, you can work as a student worker from day one of the program. There are tons of jobs that we have on campus We use a portal called Handshake. Once you're enrolled in classes, you can create a profile there and look for student worker positions. And these positions also pay kind of close to what a TA earns. So let's say you are somebody with a scholarship and you still want to work as a student worker. Absolutely, there are lots of opportunities out there for you. Dining, parking, transportation, library. There are student worker positions in different departments. Our dean's office, our advising, our own office, the marketing teams, or you have different receptions that we have in different departments and areas. I mean, there are places where students work. And being a big university, we've got about 30,000 students. We do have a lot of operations that are driven by our students, which we are actually very proud of, that we see so many student workers on campus. Nitin, with regards to internships, since the program is scheduled for 2 years, if I take summer internship after 1 year, how likely is a company to hold that position for that student for 2 semesters and offer them a full-time position? Well, Nitin, it all depends on how well you do. No company outrightly, or not, I would say not many of them outrightly give out full year-long internships. Now, recently through my RPA class, we had a few students who were hired by a company and they were given full year internship offers. Full year internship offers with a promise that once they graduate, they will be hired full time. Now that happens. However, most of the companies, what they do is they do a semester by semester engagement. Sometimes they might just give you a couple of semesters worth of internship upfront, but if you're working well, they will just extend your internship until you graduate, and once you graduate, you simply start working with them. Some of them might not have the ability to extend an internship, but since they want you, they will tell you beforehand that they want you to join them full time after one semester. And there are a considerable number of students who go through that. Now, remember, just because you're doing an internship in a company doesn't mean that it automatically converts into full-time. It is all dependent on your performance. And most of the employers use an internship as a low-risk method to see whether you are the fit that they want to hire full-time or not. Okay, yes, that question was answered. Ayush wanted to know the tuition fee for fall 22 flex and when will the scholarships be announced? Well, our scholarship committee is working on the scholarship applications for fall, and I think anywhere in the next few weeks they should start announcing the results. Now, again, if you don't get your scholarship, let's say in the first round, they will not send you a rejection. They will go back to they'll put your name back in the pool. And after 2-3 weeks, they come back and they look at the pool again. And at that point of time, they again evaluate your profile. If it fits the criteria that they have at that moment, they will give you a scholarship. If not, they will again not reject you. They'll put you back into the pool. And they do this every 2-3 weeks until May 1st. After May 1st, in a few days, they will announce the rejections in case you don't get it. But there is a possibility that somebody might go through 3 or 4 different rounds before they get a scholarship. As far as the tuition fee is concerned, this is dependent on the number of credits that you take in the program. So for example, after 12 credits, anything that you take doesn't have any additional tuition associated with it. In the flex program, of course. The tuition can also depend on not only your credits, but also whether you're a TA or you have a scholarship. I would strongly recommend that please attend the financial planning webinar that we have on Jan 26. We are just going to talk about the financials around the program there. And we'll go in depth into different scenarios as to what different type of profiles of students look like. One with scholarships, one with no scholarships, or TA-ships, or student worker positions, etc. As to how do you really fund your degree program and what the options are. So we will go through that in depth in that particular webinar. Is the mandatory internship in the curriculum? Yes, it is. So you will get credits for your internship from the electives pool that we have. But yes, it is part of the program. Now, when you say co-op is a way in which students, a company and the program already has a partnership where the student works and takes classes at the same time. Well, that's what a co-op is, but most of our internships are also like that. So they're, even though they have different titles, the kind of work is same. So you still are working and you're taking classes. And that's the expectation that any university has there. Okay. Is 15-year education okay? Yeah, which I believe what you mean is that you have a 3-year bachelor's degree. Absolutely, we accept that too. Tanmay, after we apply for GRE GMAT waiver, how much time it takes to hear back? It takes about 1 to 2 weeks for the waiver, and then the total time from our admissions team would be about 2 to 4 weeks. I mean, the official time is 4 to 6 weeks, but they are turning around applications in about 2 to 4 weeks. They will email you. Keep an eye on your email. And students applying without GRE GMAT score, can they apply for scholarships? No. For scholarships, you do need GRE or GMAT. Can we drop the official documents after reaching the campus? Yes, you can. However, if you have the ability to send them through postal mail and just make sure your envelopes are, the document is attested, don't put your originals. It is attested documents that we need. They put it in an envelope, seal it, stamp it on the seals, and then have it sent. The reason why I say that is, let's say there is something that's not acceptable as part of your documents, and if you're an international student, let's say, you will have time before the semester to get the right document. Versus when you come here and you have that document and you give it, and let's say for whatever reason, it's not accepted. So if you can send it, but not a problem. We have been accepting those sealed and stamped envelopes here at the university as well. We have a Dropbox facility where you can just drop your documents. What are some key evaluations that are looked in the application? As I said, do you have a good quantitative profile? For example, it's a quantitative program. So if I put you through the program and you are weak on the quantitative side of things, then probably you're not the right fit for the program. Or if you've had a history of lower scores, maybe sitting in a degree program is not something that you do well. At the same time, we also look at your reasoning for doing this program through your essays. And those reasonings have to be right. Again, if you want to do this program, somewhere you should have some idea about what analytics is, at least from an understanding point of view, that what and how it will factor in your future. And then we look at your letter of recommendations, we look at your GRE GMAT if you have submitted one, and then make a decision. Your resume as well. We want people from all sorts of places come into the program. Let me tell you that. Yes, most of them do have some IT experience, background, technical background, but we get a lot of people who have no IT computer science experience, and they're still very successful in the program. You get people from commerce, econ, healthcare. A few realtors also joined us this past semester, and they want to do this because they have their own businesses and they want to make their businesses better because they feel that if they have the ability to look into data, they should be able to make better business decisions. And that was a fantastic reasoning to be in the program. That should be fine, Pranav. February 15th is okay. You can go and apply. We still have time. See, the regular deadline is May 1st. Now, from an admit standpoint, if you go beyond May 1st, there's a late fee of $75 and we will accept your application. However, there's a hard deadline for scholarship applications, and which is May 1st. And this is for fall 22. Koratham is right at the top of the hour here, so I'll try to quickly cover the last few questions. If my undergrad university is deemed and not affiliated with any other university, can an attested provisional certificate satisfy? So this degree or the transcripts that we are asking for, we need it from the institution that issues it. Some institutions, again, if it's a deemed university and has the ability to issue those documents, absolutely we'll agree, we'll accept it. So you have to make sure that the body that issues these documents is the one that is issuing it to us as well. That's the only thing that we care about. Akhil, Just wanted some key factors. Look for scholarship. So again, for us, the factors are same for scholarship as well. But we do start with a GRE or GMAT. And the reason why we do that is because every university is different. You have your own grading scales, and it's impossible for us to look at all those different factors all together and compare two different universities. So that's why we use a standardized test to start off. And once we know which pool we are looking at, then we start looking at, okay, let's see. So if you have made the cut with the GRE or GMAT, it doesn't automatically means that you'll get a scholarship. And now the committee will start evaluating your application, your scholarship essay, which is important. And as far as your scholarship essay is concerned, talking about how it will help you financially is not a great way to put forth your need. Because again, every scholarship will satisfy 100% of the applicants financially. So there is no difference. There's nothing different that you're telling us there. At the same time, it reduces your financial burden. 100% of the applicants' financial burden will be reduced. So what is something different that you're telling us that will happen if you get a scholarship? And that's what we are looking at. What's the difference between Flex and Cohort? Rishika, we went over that, but quickly. Flex program is the program which has all the 10 tracks. It's a state-funded program. Cohort on the other side has limited tracks in it, and the fee structure is different. For the coming fall, Flex other classes online. Well, as of now, we're going to be in our traditional mode. So most 90% of our classes will be face-to-face, and that's happening that happened last semester in fall. For spring, we just had a delayed start, and the first 3 weeks we are going online, but after that we are all going back in person. So hopefully things are okay, and we will go back to normal modality again for next fall. We have already done it, so we are not an online program. When I say online program, I mean we are not an online university. We try to do things in person. If I'm coming for, am I eligible for a scholarship? So there isn't anything that we have for summer out there. Carolina, how do you support your students in job search and professional development? Now, for professional development, we do have a course that you take in the first semester for 1 credit, but there are a flurry of workshops that we have that students go to through our career management center. And as far as reaching out to industry is concerned, we have a lot of connections with companies that hire directly from us. So we do make sure that for example, we are just constructing the resume book for summer, which means about 1,600 companies will receive the profiles of the MSBA students in the next few weeks. And a lot of them start just reaching out to students directly from the resume book. So we do give you opportunities for that face time, but at the same time, a lot of passive networking that happens due to the program, you have opportunities there as well. So we do make sure that if you're looking for something, you have enough number of chances to go for. And at the end of the day, job search is a shared responsibility. We help you, but you also will put an effort from your end to make things work. Sri, I'm a petroleum engineer with 3.5 years of experience. Let me see how many code questions we have. Oh, we have tons and tons of questions. All right, well, the questions that we have until now, until 9:31, I will take all of them. Let me put that, because we are at the top of the hour. We try to keep it within an hour. And this doesn't mean that if you have questions, you cannot send an email about it. But I will take the ones that I have not covered. Or is GMAT also considered? Yes. Procedure to apply for scholarship. So just go to the Jindal website and you will look for Jindal School scholarships and you will see the scholarships page to apply. Ankita, we just talked about the factors. I-20. So I-20 is about 7 to 10 business days after all your documents that are required for an I-20 are received. Sai, the committee would be looking at them in the next few days. Martin, you can change your major. Is ML certification free if you are enrolled? Yes. So if you're taking the same courses that the ML certificate requires, you will get credit towards the MSBA degree as well. Made, I'm a sophomore pursuing 5-year integrated MBA from OP Jindal. Has a collaboration. Yes, we are aware. Is there a differentiation for tie-ups? Well, students who come through tie-ups, we know that they have experienced the school in some way. So definitely that is taken into consideration. The scholarship, Akhil, no, it doesn't depend completely on GRE, but GRE is one of the important criteria. Mridula, when we have flex as option with scholarship, why select cohort? Well, if you want to just take courses around data science, you can go with the cohort program. And of course, there are different benefits in terms of, if the tuition rate that's out there, it's a flat tuition rate. And if that's what you want to go with, you can go with. There are some scholarship opportunities in cohort as well, but they're different from what Flex has to offer. If a professor recommends us, are there chances of getting any admit scholarship? Professor recommendations can be used for admissions. But again, the decision lies on the committee. Okay, tuition fee. Ayush, we answered that question. SBA. So an MBA and an MSBA together, separately, it's 89 credits. But if you do it together, it's 63. It saves you 27 credits worth of time and money. You can definitely, Carolina, you can send me an email and I'll share some resources that can help you understand how to go about a dual degree. Sakshi, I've been admitted to UTD. Well, again, Sakshi, you will have to complete one semester before you can go for a TA-ship. I've submitted my application. I've passed 3 actual. The postgraduate, I have additional masters. I think, that's a strong profile. So if you have submitted an application, that will be taken into consideration. Okay. So Varun, again, when we talk about the duration of the program, as I said, it is different for everybody. In case your bank is asking explicitly for the duration, what I do is, first of all, we don't respond to banks directly. So you'll have to send us a request for the duration, and we simply send you a response that has been used by students in the past as well to just tell the bank what the duration is. It's not a fixed duration. And that's why we don't say it's a 2-year program, because you can finish it in 9 months, as I said before. Kirti, 15 years is okay. What else do we have? Akhil, yes, absolutely. Everything is looked into. Pranav. So the GPA to be a TRA is your UTD graduate GPA. The monthly pay is $1,000 after taxes, and you need at least 3.4 to be a TA in the program. So the 36 credit fee will be anywhere between, I would say, lower, higher of the 30Ks all the way to $65,000. It depends on a lot of factors, how many credits you're taking, you have scholarship, TA-ship, all those kind of things. As I said, Jan 26, we are going to discuss this in detail, and that'll be the only agenda. So please do join us for that webinar. You're welcome, Yashaswini. Rishika, you can only apply to be a TA after you've completed. You can do it in the first semester, but it'll only be for the second semester that you're here at UTD. I'm expecting you can apply for a scholarship right now. We will only look into your scholarship application once a decision is rendered. And once you have the decision, just go ahead and accept it as well. There's no fee for accepting the decision, so you're good on that. And you don't pay any fee until and unless you are enrolled in courses. So go ahead. Sai, you can do absolutely 6 months full time. People do full-time school and full-time internships also sometimes. I think I answered that question. Akhil, I answered your question. Wes, evaluation reports be considered. Don't spend money on Wes, but if you have already done it, send it to us. We will have a look at it because our own team does evaluation and it's much cheaper than what Wes does. But if you have already done it, just send it to us. Nitin, sponsorship is dependent a lot of times on performance. A lot of companies can do it. And if they see a good candidate, they do sponsor them. Yes, Sanjana, absolutely. Go ahead and apply for it. If students don't receive full-time offers after internships and go back, are they able to find full-time? Oh, absolutely. We have got some great students who unfortunately didn't do any internship. And when they graduated, they landed some really good jobs. Rishika, I have answered that question about the TAs. Akhil, does scholarships completely? I've answered that question again. Okay, I've answered the question. I'm not looking at the ones that are repeated. Hinal, again, that question is answered. Yes, so our cap in the Flex program is 12 credits in terms of the tuition. You can take up to 18 credits in a semester, but credit number 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 will be free in the Flex program. Luli, I'm in my last semester at Texas Woman. I don't have the final transcript. Can I still apply? If you are just missing one transcript, that's fine. You can still go ahead and apply. And request for a GRE GMAT waiver as well. Absolutely. Now, the committee might not feel confident. They may feel confident, they may not feel confident. And they will get back to you and tell you that, hey, if you want a waiver, then we'll probably wait. We will need your last semester as well. But please go ahead and apply and request that waiver. So I-20 is 7 to 10 business days. I'm skipping all the repeated questions. Hema, in the core program, your residency doesn't change. Irrespective of whether you get a scholarship or not, your residency always stays out of state. How important is undergrad GPA? GPA. Well, we'll have to, if you have a low GPA, then definitely don't go for a GRE GMAT waiver. Write a GRE GMAT. Show us something that tells us that you can do well if you're put in a classroom. Okay, I'm kind of getting towards the end. Is requested and well, you can ask for Neha, you can ask for an email, but if they have waived it and they have put it in the portal, then that's all that you need. Monthly pay for the TA is $1,000 after taxes. GPA requirement for keeping a scholarship. If you get one, then we require you to be in good standing, which means at least a 3.0. Mahita, if you can send me an email, I will get that link sent to you. Minimum number of credits to maintain F1 status is 9. However, if you're doing an internship, you can go for reduced course load. You can't do reduced course load in back-to-back semesters, but you can definitely go every alternate semester. But 9 is what an international student needs. Okay, NJ, we talked about it. Onkar, it can help, absolutely. But then in what capacity do you know this professor is also important for us. Nitin, you can submit your GRE score later, but just remember one thing. Till the time we don't have your official scores, we will not be looking at your scholarship application. What's a good GPA? Well, 3 is the minimum that we look at. If it's below 3, then there has to be something like a GRE or GMAT to help us understand that you are a good candidate. And of course, anything which is good, which is really considered excellent is a 3.5, but at least a 3. The professional development course is a 1-credit course that needs to be completed in the first semester. All right, with that, we come to the end of all our questions here. And okay, I'll take one last one from Rohit here. You don't need to apply for foreign credentials evaluation because our team does it themselves. So don't spend all that money on WES evaluation. But in case you have done it, try sending it. But UTD will be doing their own evaluation. Okay, well, the recording for this webinar will be sent out pretty soon. And thank you for all your questions here, everybody. But we hope to see you at UTD. And if you have any questions, feel free to send them. I'll just put down some email addresses that will be helpful. msbuan@utdallas.edu. And then email addresses. All right, folks. Well, thank you for your time this morning, and we'll definitely be in touch. And if you have any other questions, please have them sent directly to me or msbuan@utdallas.edu, and we'll be in touch with you. Goodbye.